Sarah, there's no doubt that tech needs to be held accountable. There needs to be better privacy. There needs to be antitrust enforcement. But it needs to be done in a precise way and not in a way that stifles growth or competition or that is ad hoc. So what I would advise tech to do is to get ahead of the curve, to make sure their platforms aren't privileging their own products, to make sure they have strong privacy protections, and to show that they really are responding to people's fears and concerns.
So is this an antitrust issue or is it different? Is it privacy and some of those other terms you mentioned?
Well, it's both. I think there's a large concern on privacy and what people are going to do with their data. There's also a concern on antitrust, but I think the relevant example is the Microsoft case. In Microsoft, the company wasn't broken up, but they weren't allowed to tie the Internet Explorer to their Windows platform. As a result, we saw Netscape, Google, a lot of competition emerges. Similarly, the current companies shouldn't be able to say that their own platforms have an advantage. And as long as they have neutral platforms that embrace competition, I think you can solve this issue with smart regulation and enforcement without breaking up the companies.
Is there any movement toward that on Capitol Hill?
I think the process on Capitol Hill is just beginning, but I think there are voices that say, let's do this thoughtfully, let's have well-crafted regulation, we do need to have oversight, but we need to do it informed about the technology and aware that we don't want China, we don't want Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu to become the dominant players. So we want to make sure that America remains innovative and leading growth, but doing it responsibly.
Congressman, some of the big CEOs have changed their tune over the last 12 months. They now welcome regulation and, in fact, encourage it. You interact with them. What do you think their motivation to change their tune has been?
Well, Wilfred, you're absolutely right. I mean, Sundar Pichai at Google had an op-ed calling for well-crafted regulation. Sheryl Sandberg has said that at Facebook. Tim Cook has said that. One, I think it would make their life easier if there were some Brightline rules. I mean, these are very complex issues. Do you remove a doctored video? How do you protect a person's freedom of speech versus their privacy rights or their right not to have hate speech? So I think actually having well-crafted rules by Congress may make their life easier. Secondly, they're responding to their constituents and their consumers. People want more privacy, and they understand that. What they want to make sure is that we don't do something rash that squelches competition and innovation, and that we're thoughtful in how we do these regulations.
I mean, do you find yourself conflicted at all now as the co-chairman of Bernie Sanders' campaign? He rails against the top 1%. I mean, that's who we're talking about in many ways, and hasn't it been exactly super friendly in his language toward big tech?
Well, I call myself a progressive capitalist. I think Bernie Sanders is right that there are communities that have been left out of the technology revolution. A lot of rural America, a lot of communities of color aren't participating. And one of the challenges for Silicon Valley is how do we distribute jobs? How do we distribute economic opportunity? Every American is a consumer of technology. Everyone gets an Amazon package or uses Google search, but not everyone has a pathway for economic success. And so my view and my push has been to get technology to disperse the economic opportunity.